Okay. I'm sorry?
Isn't it kind of a wet ride?
Well, if you dress right, it's not too bad.
No place was sitting there, so there's two spots here.
What do they got in here to
Put
eat?
your stuff here to keep it dry, and then I'm gonna put mine in there too. And then
We were at the west entrance to Glacier National Park at the West Glacier Shirt Company. The rain was still coming down pretty good. We needed a hot cup of coffee, and they had a place where we could stay dry while we warmed up. We took our gear off, laid it out to dry, and wandered inside to check out the t-shirts and get something to eat. The hot cups of coffee really hit the spot. After we used the bathroom, we went outside to hang out underneath the canopy. While we were standing there talking, a young ranger pulled up in a pickup truck and got out and started to water the potted plants underneath the canopy. We started to talk to him, and we asked why the middle of the Going to the Sun road was closed. He informed us that they had D8 Caterpillar bulldozers up there clearing 30 feet of snow off the road. That's 30 feet deep. I was speechless. I couldn't believe that. And I told him so. He told me that in April it had been 100 feet of snow they were clearing. Can you imagine 100 feet of snow in April? That when they started plowing that with 100 feet of freaking snow? How do you do that? He also told us that it wasn't at all unusual for one of those operators to die up there clearing snow. And that's why they got huge money to do it. We stood around for about 45 minutes, and when the rain started to let up, we geared up and got back on the road, anxious to see how far into the park we could get. It didn't take long for us to get a glimpse of the glaciers. And even though the Park Service said we couldn't get far enough into the park to see them, it looked like we might get enough glimpses at a distance to make it interesting. And this is the detour right here, yeah? Take care, have a good ride, man. We rode as far as the National Forest Service would allow, and then we turned around and headed back to the west entrance. It had started to rain again, so we didn't really stop on the way back. As we headed for the entrance, the skies began to clear, the weather started to change, and by the time we hit McDonald Lake, there were blue skies. This was a welcome development because it was something that I really wanted to do before we headed back to the motel in Kalispell for the night. When I was growing up, I had heard my dad tell my mom about his experience in the Army and how he had been shipped out to Washington State to pick apples. There had been some kind of natural weather thing or disaster, I'm not really sure what, but they had sent the Army out there to bail out the farmers. He told my mom that on the way out, they had stopped in a place called Whitefish, Montana. He had told her over and over again how it was the most beautiful place he had ever been and how much he wanted to return. My dad had never gotten to do that, and since we were only 40 miles away and my dad is always with me, I thought that taking a ride there would be pretty cool. Oh yeah, I think we might be able to do whitefish here, buddy. I got, are my floorboards down? Okay. No, I'm pretty sure that, oh no, that one's not down. Come on, Dad, here we go. We're going to fight whitefish. Whitefish, baby. Entering whitefish. They've been waiting for you, Pop. They've been waiting. Isn't it? I can imagine what it looked like back in the day. And probably that whole valley, you know, they probably, when they were coming in here and looking down that valley, oh my goodness, it must have been just breathtaking. I could see how my dad, as a young 18-year-old soldier who really knew nothing more than New York City, could be so impressed by Whitefish, Montana. I'm sure it was nothing like anything he had seen before, and I'm glad I went there in his name. We rode through Whitefish out towards Big Mountain, but it was getting late, so we turned around and headed back towards Kalispell. We needed to grab some dinner and find the Fairbridge Inn. We found a local Applebee's. Their food is pretty consistent, and their 2 for $20 was a great deal. We enjoyed our meal and our time off the bike and talked about what we had seen that day. Carl had a huge brownie fudge sundae for dessert, and then we geared up and went out to find the Fairbridge Inn. We couldn't find it earlier in the day, even though, as it turns out, we passed it twice. The confusion was because the sign said Outlaw Inn and Convention Center. But we finally found it, got checked in, unloaded our luggage, went to our room, and planned the next day's ride. It was going to be a big one. June 14th, even with the rain, had been a day to remember and would be a tough one to top.